Let's do it. Savannah Center and Sports Pool will be closed on Monday. Shuffleboard courts to be closed for resurfacing at Savannah Center. Bacaw Recreation Center's Key Largo room to close for maintenance. The village's most popular executive golf course to be closed for 2 weeks. Moyer Recreation Center and Family Pool to be closed for maintenance. Penny Camp Neighborhood Recreation Area and Adult Pool closed on Wednesday. Bradenton Recreation Center and Family Pool to close for maintenance. This is typical. At the end of snowbird season, which is really generally in May, toward the end of May actually, with the end of everything, that's when they start doing maintenance. Because while the snowbirds are here, the golf courses get played 10 times more. Beer of the day, Sam Adams, Oktoberfest. Nearly 5,000 new residents moved into the villages last year, thanks to a large part to the new homes being built in the southern end of Florida's friendliest hometown. The village's population climbed from 130,897 in July of 2020 to 135,638 in July of 2021. The 3.6% increase ranks as the fifth highest among all metro areas in the United States. Many of those who left the villages during that time period had died. There were 2,250 more people who died in the metro area than were born over the same period. Wildwood is seeing a tremendous growth. In 30 years, the once tiny city is predicted to bloom to more than 130,000 residents, according to a proposed 2050 comprehensive plan. Short, sweet story. I used to deliver to the railroad out of Indiana in my semi-truck when I was an owner-operator, and I came through Wildwood once upon a time when there were drunks and druggies that would actually sleep in the middle of the one-lane road that went right through town, and I had to drive around them. True. Villagers fear apartments and a parking power grab is signaling the end of Spanish Springs Town Square. The villagers will go before the Lady Lake Commission on Monday night to update officials on its plan to bring apartments to the former home of Katie Bells in the Van Patten house. The plan calls for specially reserved parking spots for the renters on Alvarez Avenue right in front of the building, and also calls for additional reserved renter spots at the square. Who owns the land where the parking spaces are to be reserved for occupants for apartments located in the old Katie Bells? Who pays for maintenance of those parking spaces? Asked Frank Walter. Good, Frank. I brought this up. 14-year village resident of the villages. He said the move is a betrayal of the home buyers lured to Florida's friendliest hometown thanks to its original town square. Fellow resident Ellen Gomes pointed to the statue of the village's founder, Harold Schwartz, at town square. Rumor is his ashes are in that statue. Can't swear to it, but I've heard this rumor many times. I don't think that putting the apartments is fair to the people who bought 22 years ago. See, here's a statement that's totally wrong. It says, by putting apartments in the square, you are going to have to stop all activities. Why? How can you provide reserved parking and public access? Now, that is true. I've said that's public street. I don't know. But see, you're arguing with the developer, and all he did is ask Lady Lake for that. So Lady Lake has, I think, the last say-so about that reserved parking thing. So you're talking to the wrong person here. You need to be talking to your Lady Lake Commission down there about not doing this. Villager Julia Himmelsbach agreed the apartments could be a part of a broader conspiracy. Oh, we got a conspiracy theory to suck the life out of Spanish Springs. You know, I'm sorry. I understand Katie Bells. I understand the rhetoric going on around that. And I do agree with most of it that it's a shame it's gone. That was the only resident-only club. But some of these letters these people write to the editor, which, by the way, the editor has nothing to do with any of this, they're just ridiculous in how they're worded. They really are. I just can't go along with half of these things. If you start eliminating music at the square, now who ever said anything about eliminating music? I have never read any report anywhere saying that. And get rid of parking and happy hour. I have never heard anybody say anything about getting rid of happy hour. You are eliminating the best of the villages. The small town feel is why we are here. Down south development is totally changing this feel. When you drive down there, you see walls and power lines and hear the freeway. Leave Spanish Springs alone. I'm not sure why he's comparing them down there to Spanish Springs. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I don't see the point here. But anyway, Spanish Springs has their own feel. Spanish Springs has their own problems. And the biggest problem with Spanish Springs is that it is so close to outside people to be able to come in, and they have that right to do that. There's more trouble up there with kids and younger people getting drunk, and the biggest problem is Republic of Margarita. Is that what it's called? Republic of Margaritaville, something like that. That bar there on the corner. There's more problems in that bar and around that bar than anywhere up there, I believe. A Stonecruster has apparently abandoned a Cadillac SUV in the Villages. The maroon Cadillac SUV has been backed into a parking spot on the far side of Savannah Center. The vehicle is covered with thick layer of pollen. The Cadillac's windshield display has a resident sticker from Stonecrest, a gated 55 plus community in Summerfield. The vehicle's license plate expired this past May. It also has a flat tire on the rear of the passenger side. Well, just get it towed out of here. I mean, we have the authority. That's private property. It's been here long enough. Just call a towing company and just have it towed out. Quit worrying about so-called political correctness. Just get it out of here. I mean, just quit dicking around with this stuff. The odds are, and I'm just saying the odds are, the owner of that vehicle has either had a serious medical issue and has been in the hospital, and or they've died. And if they've died, there it is. Just get it out of here. A woman who was convicted of stealing a prescription pad from the doctor's office in the Villages has landed back in jail. Octavius Maxine Steverson, 32 of Summerfield, was arrested shortly before 3 p.m. Anyway, she was arrested at 3 p.m. Wednesday at Square One Burgers. I like Square One. Kind of pricey for burgers and things, though, but I like it. It's different. At Pinellas Plaza in the Villages, she was wanted on a warrant charging her with contempt of court. She was taken into custody and booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. Stevenson was sentenced to 5 years probation in 2019. Sumter County Court records indicated she failed to keep up with the payment plans and fines and fees. A Sumter County Sheriff's deputy was dispatched at about 5 a.m. Thursday to the condominium complex where a silver Nissan Versa was parked near the mailboxes. The vehicle was running with the keys in the ignition, according to the arrest report. The deputy looked in the vehicle and spotted a clear plastic bag containing white powder. When the driver, later identified as 27-year-old Cody Blasberg of Inverness, saw the deputy looking in the window, he tried to conceal the bag. Also in the vehicle was an aluminum foil and burn marks. A check revealed that Blasberg's driver's license had been suspended. Well, of course it has. And due to failure to pay traffic fines in Lake County and Citrus County, Blasberg also admitted he was out on bond in a theft case of Citrus County. He was arrested and charged with drug possession, possession of drug equipment, driving while license suspended. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center on $5,000 bond. A report submitted by the Villages indicates that apartments will result in a reduction of traffic at Spanish Springs Town Square. Sure it will. The traffic analysis by Kimley and Horn Associates Incorporated is included in a packet of materials prepared for commissioners in advance of a meeting set for 6 p.m. Monday, May 2nd at Lady Lake Town Hall. The Lady Lake Commission will be hearing from the Village's Vice President, Martin Zuro, about plans for 7 age-restricted apartments to be built at the former home of Katie Bells. I don't want to say anything, and I don't want to be pointing a finger. Sometimes the Village's representatives are very well known for just a no-show. The report from Kimberly indicates the apartments will generate 1,505 fewer daily trips to the square than the previous occupant. A legendary venue for dining and dancing, Katie Bells, was shut down in the Villages as a COVID-19 casualty. Yeah, well, I guess that's a good excuse. There's so many excuses for COVID nowadays. Just never mind. Don't get me started. The apartments will generate a daily traffic decrease of 88.9%. Now, what idiot would believe that? Do you believe that? That with all the restaurants downtown and the music and everybody goes down there for all the dancing and everything like that, that it's going to result in an 88% decrease in traffic? Do you believe that? I'm sure there's somebody that'll swallow that. A Village of Fernandina man with a history of trouble behavior has landed back behind bars. Michael Heath Buchanan, 63, was taken into custody Thursday afternoon at his home in the Village on a warrant charging him with failure to appear in court. He was booked without bond at a Sumter County Detention Center. The California native has a history of problematic behavior here in Florida's friendliest hometown. CVS Health is laying its claim in the southern end of the villages with a construction of a new store south of State Road 44. The CVS store will be located at Magnolia Plaza near the Everglades Recreation Center. The new store will be approximately 14,856 square feet and will include a drive-up window for the pharmacy. Booz Development Group of Clearwater is the developer. Kimley and Horn and Associates Incorporated is the civil engineer for the project. Stefano De Luca of Hollywood is the architect. Bids are due on project by May 12th. First consumer value store selling health and beauty products was founded in 1963 in Lowell, Massachusetts. A lawyer for a 79-year-old villager sought a last-minute continuance on the eve of a trial involving a long-running feud between neighbors in the villages. The trial was to commence this week in Sumter County. The case involves Gerald Wilbur Lawson, who was arrested on a felony charge of battery in 2020 at his residence on Bradford Loop in the village of Sanibel. Lawson's attorney, Mark Conan, sought a continuance on Friday, according to the court document. Lawson's 73-year-old neighbor contacted the Sumter County Sheriff's Office on October 13, 2020, to report that Lawson had struck her in the buttock with a handle of a lawnmower. She showed the deputies footage from her ADT surveillance system, which showed her standing on the irrigation lid on her property, watering her new sod. The video showed Lawson mowing his lawn and that he purposely lifted the rear tires of the mower and hit her in the buttocks. The woman had red marks on the right buttock. A deputy went to Lawson's home, but the Brunswick, Massachusetts native refused to speak to law enforcement regarding the matter. Lawson and his wife purchased their home in the villages of Sanibel in 2011, and their next-door neighbors purchased their home 1 year later. Though initially friends, the neighbors have been in a conflict for several years. Florida's friendliest hometown! A North Carolina woman who has been staying in the village of Chitty Chatty has entered a plea after an intoxicated outburst in March at the Lighthouse Bar and Grill. Carolyn Johnson, 44, of Raleigh, North Carolina, pleaded not guilty last week in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. She is being represented by a public defender's office. Johnson remains free on bond, which was posted by a woman who lives in the village of Chitty Chatty, with whom Johnson has been staying. Communication from the court is apparently to be mailed to that woman's home on Sumter Loop in the village of Chitty Chatty. Prior to her arrest, Johnson was behaving in a highly intoxicated manner. A child was with her that it was running unsupervised into the street at Lake Sumter Landing. Johnson grabbed and snatched at one of the bystanders and fell to the boardwalk. She remained there passed out, according to the arrest report. When she woke up, she staggered to her black 2019 Dodge Grand Caravan with Ohio license plates and attempted to drive away. The bystander told her she was in no condition to drive and acted as a human shield in the parking lot, preventing her from leaving. When the first deputy arrived on the scene, he found Johnson slumped behind the wheel and the child seated in a child seat in the vehicle. He knocked on the window several times without a response. When Johnson woke up, she was belligerent and began cursing at him. She stood up on the step rail of her vehicle to tower over the deputy, who continued to try to get her to calm down. She slapped the deputy on his chest and kicked him. The deputy handcuffed Johnson and put her in the back of the patrol car. He had to put hobble restraints on the device of her ankles to prevent her from kicking. She arrived at the Sumter County Detention Center. Johnson continued to fight with the detention deputies. She refused to provide breath samples. She is due back in court on June 14th. What do you want to bet? It's a no-show. Sumter County is ready for mosquito season and new spraying alert system. Yeah, they come through here sometimes. I don't know, I don't have their schedule, but in my neighborhood, when the mosquito spraying starts, they come through here like at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Little thing, a fogger machine on the back of a pickup they pull around. I can only tell you where I'm at. I'm not really near any kind of water. Sue says she's had been bitten a couple of times in 8 years. That could be. A snowbird has been ordered to stay away from booze after a drunk driving arrest. Well, I'm sure she will. Yeah. Don't you do that no more. Promise me. Laura Friedman, 63, of Salem, New Hampshire, pleaded no contest Wednesday in Lake County Court to a charge of reckless driving reduced from a charge of driving under the influence. She had been placed on probation for 1 year and ordered to perform 25 hours of community service, although she will be allowed to buy out of the service at a rate of $10 per hour. She has also been ordered not to possess or consume alcohol, and she must seek an alcohol evaluation. Letters to the editor. To the editor, my husband and I bought a house very close to Spanish Springs because we love the town. We love the town square and Katie Bells. I believe they are moving towards elimination of the town square. See, there's another remark that they have no idea. They're too busy listening to other people that have no idea. So, I don't know that they are, and I don't know that they ain't. But remember, I've said early on in my video career here that I said rumors run wild here. And here's a very good example of it. Everybody's talking about them wanting to do away with Spanish Springs and eliminate. I have read nothing that says that other than rhetoric from residents that I'm not being insulting. It's just a fact that really know nothing. They don't know anything that's going on. They're all just, they're imagining all this stuff. I'm very unhappy about the closing of Katie Bells, and I understand that part. I do, and I'm unhappy about it too, even though I was not a regular participant of Katie Bells, and I'm sure everybody loved Katie Bells, but did you really go? Did you go regularly? Because my guess is the reason why Katie Bells didn't last is because it was just not profitable. That's a business guess of mine, and so they had to come up with something, and it was gone. Then they did away with the steakhouse that was upstairs, right? It was gone. And finally, they closed Katie Bells. Didn't they make some kind of a store there at one time for a little while, and that didn't work? And so now this is the apartment idea. And there's probably going to be more than apartments in there. They just talk about the apartments. But Katie Bells inside is a big building. I'm guessing it's apartments and plus whatever. And I don't know what that whatever is. But I have arguments about Katie Bells, and I don't even live up there. So should I have an argument? As a resident, I think I do. Apartments are ridiculous in the square because of the entertainment. And with them, now talking about saved parking for apartments, it's only a matter of time till the town square will be closed. That's sent in by Teresa Donauer, the village of Mira Mesa. Golf carts are often seen straying onto roadways where they don't belong in and around Florida's friendliest hometown. Recently, a golf cart, which clearly wasn't street legal, traveled westbound in a 45-mile-per-hour zone on County Road 466A near the village of Fruitland Park. It eventually made a right-hand turn into the 7-Eleven at Colony Plaza. Under Florida statute, a golf cart is identified as a motor vehicle designed and manufactured for operation on a golf course for sporting or recreational purposes, and that is not capable of exceeding speeds over 20 miles per hour. A low-speed vehicle is identified as a four-wheeled vehicle whose top speed is greater than 20 miles per hour, but not greater than 25 miles per hour, including, but not limited to, neighborhood electric vehicle. For a low-speed vehicle to be considered street legal, it must be equipped with headlights, brake lights, turn signals, tail lamps, reflectors, parking brakes, rear view mirrors, windshield, and seat belts. It also needs insurance and license plates. In other words, it's got to be registered. Low-speed vehicles can be operated on designated roadways. Now listen, because people argue about this, and I'm reading this directly to you. So when other people tell you something else, you'll know that they don't know what they're talking about. Low-speed vehicles can be operated on designated roadways with a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less, not 45. But I do believe in certain areas, because I learned this when I was gate guard, there are certain areas that are designated that may have speed limits over 40 or 35. They might be 45, generally anything over that, where you can cross the road straight across, not down the road and then turn left. You have to go straight across. And there are certain areas in the villages where it's designated as a golf cart crossing. And I say golf cart crossing, not a low-speed vehicle crossing, where you can cross a 35-mile-an-hour road, but you got to go straight across. In other words, from one village straight across to another village. And all them crossings that I know about are always at a stoplight, nowhere else. Those are the approved crossings in that county. Not hard to find this stuff out, but most people they find it out when their neighbors, they'll tell them, say, oh, you can do this. Oh, yeah, you can do that. Oh, yeah, you can drive down the road. It's a 45 mile an hour. You can do that. And one of the arguments that I have all the time, the people tell me, and I just don't argue with them anymore, is over at Plantation Recreation RV Place. That's not part of the Villages. Never has been. But it's the closest place you can get an RV parking spot to the Villages. It's a nice place. I've been over there. I've done video there. I got nothing against the place at all. But the people over there have golf carts to run around that RV place. They will go down Rolling Acres Road to get on the golf cart trail that comes over into Spanish Springs. Second of all, I told them, I said, well, you guys do that. If you get caught doing that, I mean, you're going to get a ticket of some kind. He said, oh, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. That ain't what I said. You can do it all the time, but the day's coming, somebody's going to get caught. Or there's going to be an accident, and you're going to be in the middle of it, and that's when the ticket book's going to come out. So, but they think they can do it because, well, we do it all the time. A villager who threatened law enforcement officers with a crowbar remains behind bars 9 months after her arrest. You guys remember the story, right? Carolyn Kolninsky, 64, the village of Belvedere, continues to be held at the Marion County Jail since her arrest in August, when she led multiple law enforcement agencies on a high-speed chase. When Kolninsky finally came to a stop, she reached down on the passenger side floorboard, picked up a yellow crowbar, and threatened officers with it. That's always a good move. Last year, while she was behind bars, neighbors appeared before the Community Development District 5 Board of Supervisors and detailed her strange behavior. Her home in the Hialeah village was found to be in violation of deed compliance due to the overgrown grass and a no trespassing sign she had posted. You can't do that. You got to take the sign down. In a rambling letter sent December 15th to Judge Peter Brigham, Kolninsky complained about her treatment by law enforcement at the time of her arrest, the public defender's office, and jailers. She clearly wanted to go home to her rescue dog, Lucy. Life is serious. Stop wasting my time. I have house. I have a house, right? I have house, dog, life, my own, and keep occupied. I'm reading the letter exactly the way she wrote it. I enjoy my retirement in Sunshine State, Florida, same as everyone else. Her next court date is set for July. This lady has some problems. I don't know what they are. I'm not making fun of them. She's got problems they need to be dealt with. Her neighbors is not responsible to deal with this lady. It seems every year they start doing the camp villages where all the grandparents and things can take their grandchildren and have all these different activities for the grandkids. And I think it's great, by the way. I think of all the communities I've been to, this is the only community I know that actually does something on a big scale like that. I think it's a good idea. I like the idea. I don't want to see it go away. But when you move to the villages, when you're only here a year or two, there's things you're not going to notice because you're too busy having fun right now. After you settle into things, and you kind of space your activities out to give yourself time to take a breath in between all the activities, okay? That's when you really start noticing little things. I said, do you ever notice how everybody uses our swimming pool as a public restroom? The new people say, no, I never pay no attention. They don't, but the older ones do. So the ones that are all smiley face, happy, great, love it here, blah, 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 that's all well and good. I wouldn't take what they have to say a lot about what's going on to heart because they haven't been here long enough to really notice anything. Well, during camp villages, and it's publicized, I guess, all over the United States because the residents here to have the grandkids that want them to come down, they tell their children. It seems like it's an open season for child molesters to come down to the villages. You read about it all the time. I've read them every week now for the last 2 weeks about child molesters coming in. Just last week, the two that were already here once before and got convicted, and they kind of left because they were pressured to leave. All of a sudden, during camp villages, they come back living with mommy and daddy or whoever. Thank you, mommy and daddy, or whoever. And here's another one, and I'll post this picture so you can see. A convicted sex offender has checked into a hotel in the villages after his release last week from prison. Matthew Eric Benedict, 34, was released Tuesday from the Florida prison after serving more than 4 years behind bars on charges of possession of pornography and sending harmful images to a minor. The day after his release, Benedict checked into the Comfort Inn and Suites Hotel. That's up by Spanish Springs. Actually, you can walk from the hotel to Spanish Springs. On 1202 Avienda Central, in the villages where he remained on Sunday, according to the information from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Benedict has been working as a janitor at Seminole Springs Elementary School in Eustis in 2017 when he exchanged sexual images with a 15-year-old boy using a cell phone, according to the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Deputies said the parents of the team discovered Benedict and given their son a cell phone on which the two exchanged explicit images and text messages. According to the arrest affidavit, when deputies searched Benedict's home, he admitted to them that he had given the teen a phone and that he sent sexual images to him. The sheriff's office said at the time that Benedict had not been acquainted with the boy through his work as a school janitor. However, outraged parents demanded Benedict's immediate firing. And I agree 100%. He shouldn't be around anywhere where there's kids now. Nowhere. He shouldn't be at any of our family pools with their children. He shouldn't, as far as I'm concerned, he should not even be allowed to go to a Little League baseball game. I mean, seriously, there's no cure for these people. They never get better. He's been this way his whole life. He'll be this way till the day he dies. So just extricate him. Get him out of here. Here's the latest report about the apartments at Spanish Springs. See what it's got to say. I guess they had a big meeting up there and they probably voted on it and all this and that. Lady Lake, generally, they're not in the hip pocket of the developer like they are here in the Wildwood, office down here. So they butt heads with him a lot. But that doesn't mean the developer's going to lose in any way. He's got the power of attorneys behind him. Despite the threat of another lawsuit, a split Lady Lake commission on Monday rejected a request from the villages for apartments at Spanish Springs Town Square. An overflow crowd of residents showed up at Lady Lake Town Hall in an impassioned attempt to block the villages from winning approval for 7 age-restricted apartments at a former home of Katie Bell's in the Van Patten house at the square. Town officials have been under the impression that villages Vice President Marty Zuro would attend Monday night's meeting to answer any questions about the proposal for the apartments. However, the Zuro was a no-show. The village's representatives of record was Lee Clymer of engineering firm Clymer Farney Barney. No. Clymer Farner Barley. Clymer had few answers and demanded the commission move ahead and vote on the site plan, which had been submitted by the villages. Mayor Jim Wrights called for tabling the vote on the apartments until the villages could accommodate the commissions by sending an empowered representative for the meeting. The developers should be embarrassed that they don't have a representative here tonight, said the mayor. However, commissions, still feeling the sting of a lawsuit last year by the villages, seem fearful of another round of court. Florida's friendliest hometown, the town attorney indicated that the villages would have to ask for the continuance, not the other way around. It appeared that the villages had cleverly manipulated the chessboard, forcing the commission to vote on the apartments, which meet the town's land development regulations. Town staff had recommended for approval of the apartments. However, the outpouring of opposition of the apartments and fears about the demise of Spanish Springs prompted 3 commissioners, Mayor Wrights, Paul Hannon, Ed Freeman, to take a stand against the villages. Commissioners Ruth Couzard and Tony Holden voted in favor of the apartments and were in minority. The mayor said he wants to see a definitive plan from the developer from Spanish Springs. The mayor said he wants to see a definitive plan from the developer for Spanish Springs. I want to see a 7-year comprehensive plan for Spanish Springs to have enough information to know where the developer is going. Yes, and demand it. But when you demand it, have the balls to stand behind it. A villager was arrested after an alleged attack over etiquette sent a fellow golfer to the hospital. Richard Eric Randall, 76, of the village of Springdale. That's the name of it. We were talking about walking trails and why I don't really believe that all these people should be allowed on the golf cart trails. I don't care what they call the golf cart trails or golf cart trails. And I said walking trails is a good idea. And now everybody's starting to ask for them because down south they're putting them everywhere. I said that's not new. They had one in one of the old villages, and I couldn't remember the name of it. That's it, Springdale. They had a walking trail up there 20 years ago. Richard Eric Randall, 76, of the village of Springdale, was arrested on a charge of battery after punching his fellow golfer Friday afternoon at the Dela Vista Executive Golf Course, according to the arrest report. He punched him. Okay. A witness said Randall began arguing with the other golfer at hole 4. The witness said Randall was standing on the green near the hole when the other golfer told him to move. Randall responded that he knew the etiquette of the game. The argument intensified and the man flipped off Randall, who approached the man and threatened that if he did it again, he would hit him. The man flipped him off. Randall was a man of his word. He hit him. Oh, the witness told deputies that the man who had been knocked down had previous medical condition involving his neck. The man was taken by ambulance to the UF Health at the village's hospital. He suffered a swollen contusion on the left side of the face. When interviewed at the hospital, the man said Randall told him if he reported this, that he better move. Randall was arrested on a felony battery of a person over 65. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,000 bond. You old duffers. A villager was arrested after allegedly inappropriately touching a woman who was resurfacing his driveway. Thomas Donald Vermillion, 71, was arrested on a felony charge of battery Friday at his home at 543 Troy Loop in the village of Mallory Square. It's a nice village, Mallory Square. He had hired a concrete business to resurface his driveway. Vermillion approached a woman who was on break, seated in a pickup truck and eating, according to the arrest report of Sumter County Sheriff's Office. He made small talk about a cookie the woman was eating. He placed his hand on her inner thigh and told her, "I like cookies too." She was wearing shorts and his hand touched her skin. Later, she was in the garage with Vermillion, obtaining some information from him when he used his thumb to wipe a little dust from her lip. She told a co-worker what happened, but also said that she was embarrassed. She later made a report to the sheriff's office. A criminal background check was revealed that Vermillion had been convicted of assault in 1977 in Macomb County, Michigan, and in 1995 he was convicted of aggravated assaults in Oakland County, Michigan. Vermillion was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,000 bond. I have nothing to say. William Zwowiski, 72, of Washington, Michigan, was at the wheel of a gray 2018 Hyundai Elantra at 11:16 p.m. Friday in the area of Buena Vista Boulevard and Bailey Trail. That's up by Lake Sumter. He was driving erratically at 55 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. During a traffic stop, a deputy noticed that the Munich, Germany native had bloodshot eyes and was unsteady on his feet. Zawinski struggled through field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that registered 0.113 and 0.102 blood alcohol content. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. In addition, he was issued a traffic warning for exceeding the speed limit. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. A man was arrested after he was found lingering around a construction site in the Villages. Wildwood police officer was on patrol in wee hours Monday near Noah Place and Randy Road when he spotted a vehicle with its engine running and taillights illuminated. The officer was suspicious of the vehicle's presence due to the recent thefts. The officer approached the vehicle and knocked on the window as the driver appeared to be asleep. When the driver later identified as 38-year-old Daniel Richard Pratt of Fruitland Park, who asked what he was doing in the construction area, he replied he was painting. During the exchange, the officer detected the aroma of burnt marijuana coming from the vehicle. A clear Ziploc bag containing marijuana was found in the door pocket on the vehicle and a blue glass pipe. Pratt was arrested on charges of possession of marijuana and possession of drug equipment. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,000 bond. Letter to the editor. Women pairing and time was up and showing at 7 a.m. on Sunday. Men's ain't showing nothing. Under Tea Times Executive, just like the women, nothing for men. If you needed $10, you are welcome or get someone who knows how to do it. It's not complicated. Several of us won't be there or sign up in the future. That is posted by Brad Yost, Village of Liberty Park. I have no idea what he's talking about. That made absolutely no sense to me at all. Do you? Explain to me. The windmill at Brownwood Paddock Square must be demolished before hurricane season because it has been declared a safety hazard. The decorative windmill and water tower at the square have suffered significant rot. Hurricane season will begin January 1, and if high winds hit the windmill, there are fears it could tumble down. Project-wide advisory committee will be asked to consider an emergency budget resolution to fund the demolition and restoration of the windmill and the water tower, which have no useful function. They are purely decorative. The amount of the demolition and restoration of the windmill and water tower is estimated at $225,000. The money would come from maintenance assessment fees paid by residents of the villages living south of County Road 466. This is not the first time rotting wood at Brownwood has created an expense for PWAC. In 2019, PWAC approved an expenditure of $63,500 to replace rotting wood at the entry to Brownwood Paddock Square. My only thing though that I'm going to say is, and I've reported this a lot, time and time again, and I don't think anybody's paying attention to what I'm saying, so I'm just going to say it this time, and then I'm probably just going to leave it alone. You see, that wasn't installed correctly by the developer. It wasn't done correctly with pressure-treated lumber and all that kind of stuff to prevent this kind of thing. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to have who knows how much. They say 225, and it'll be more. Trust me on this, it'll be more. It'll be more like probably $500,000 before they're done to do all this and recreate it and everything. Why wasn't it done right the first time? So we wouldn't have to be doing this now. I'm telling you the same thing down there south of 44 about your golf cart trails. If you don't get something done now while he's still in control of all that before he turns it over to you, it's going to cost you, all of us, even me, because they'll dig through all of the village's maintenance fees and say it's going to cost us $10 million to replace these golf cart trails, or whatever the cost is going to be, we're going to pay it. Get him to pay it now. He's in control. That's his design flaw. A Guatemalan wanted in Kansas was nabbed while speeding on the Florida Turnpike in Wildwood. Alex Abelardo Miranza Lopez, 20, was driving a blue Nissan Titan pickup truck and traveling at 87 miles per hour at about 5 p.m. Landing near mile marker 307, according to the arrest report. During a traffic stop, the native of San Marcos, Guatemala, admitted he does not have a driver's license and handed the trooper a Guatemalan counselor photo ID card. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a valid license. When he was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, it was determined that he was wanted as a fugitive from justice in Kansas. He was being held without bond in the jail. A Cinco de Mayo celebration has been set for Thursday at Spanish Springs Town Square. The fun will take place from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Entertainers will include Stella Beat, the original Village's belly dancers. The fun will take place from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Entertainers will include Stella Beat, the original Village's belly dancers, Mystic Jules, the Spanish folkloric dance group, the Silver Rockettes, and Clown Alley. Food vendors will include Big Hot Box, Kettle Corn Cabin, Curbside Chef, and Kona Ice. Hurricane Expo in the villages will help residents be prepared for the storm. A man with a lengthy criminal history was found to be in possession of ammunition when he was ordered out of a home in the villages. Ronald Charles Mantellone, 49, was arrested Tuesday by Sumter County Sheriff's deputy on a felony charge of possession of ammunition by a felon. Mantellone was being served with a temporary restraining order and was being asked to leave a home in the village of Summer Hill. While Mantellone was collecting his belongings in his bedroom, a deputy spotted a single .380 caliber round of ammunition on the table. Mantellone was convicted of drug charges in Florida as well as charging of tampering with physical evidence. In 2020, he was arrested in Citrus County after allegedly threatening a motorist with a knife during a road rage incident. He was taken into custody and booked at Sumter County Detention Center. Bond was set at $5,000. This is it, and I'm going to close this out and start editing this damn thing. But here's a letter to the editor, another one about Katie Bells and their idea of what to do, probably to save Katie Bells. See what it is. How much is that going to cost everybody? To the editor, Katie Bells was definitely one of the reasons we decided to move to the Villages in 2020. It was a great place to have dinner for ourselves and even to entertain guests. We did so several times on visits to the Villages, and it was our intention to patronize the place weekly after moving here. The news that Katie Bells was closing was very disappointing, and we were concerned it may not reopen. All businesses want to make a profit, and we really did not see enough consistent patronage in Katie Bells to guarantee that. If Katie Bells could reopen, we would certainly be willing to pledge a certain amount of patronage. Maybe even the sale and purchase of some type of seasonal pass could be helpful to the business. That's sent in by Irv and Joanne and Henry, Village of Bradford. Thanks so much. So, and the rest of you, don't leave your keys in the golf cart.